everyone. I'm not Rock Hart. I know but everyone that comes on here looks like Rock Hart in my in my eyes. I'm not Rock Hart. But before we started, just wanted to say I hope you guys are out after the NHS doing a wonderful job. And I also wanted to give a wee shout out to Nobody Else, who were our sponsor last year at the festival and are just Jackie is just an absolute legend. She's one of the nicest people you ever meet and is also so encouraging of anybody in the scene. Nobody else have these fantastic. Please ignore the soup that I spelled on it earlier. I was like, please stay clean. I was meant to stay really clean and well behaved, and then I realised that I'm an absolute monstrosity and can't wear white. But she did these fantastic t-shirts. It's Brick Heart, not nails. Brick Heart's not nails. And was designed by fantastic Debbie Deluxe. Jackie is doing personal nails. They're amazing. They're absolutely amazing. As I said, I'm a monstrosity and I pack my nose and other bits too much, so I'm there we go. On the back, maybe we'll see. I'm an absolute monstrosity, so I would be. I don't have a phone. Can someone tell me? So I won't be having any kids. I just keep voicing them. But they're amazing. I'm going to get some when I go back. Yeah, huge shout out to we have a link to a lot of local businesses. Yeah, please go and support our lovely friends and support all our locals. And without further ado, good luck with this next interview. Please welcome the one and only Rock Hart.
Hey, I am Rock Hart. I'm not Barry Island. But by the way, Miss Barry Island or Mr. Barry Island, I should have said. Yeah. Oh, look at me. I'm welcome to my boudoir. In bed with Rock. Oh yes. Thank you very much, Roxy. Oh, I didn't have it set up and then I kicked it. So yes, so welcome, and thank you, Roxy, and the Glasgow Festival of Burlesque for having me this evening. Yeah, so where do we start? Well, where am I? At the moment, I'm in sunny Preston, which isn't so sunny. It's absolutely trouncing it down. It is really, really bad here today, as well as it was yesterday. We had 6 glorious weeks of sunshine here. But unfortunately, I've been locked indoors for 12 weeks due to my medical conditions that I've had over the past few years. Hence, one of the reasons why you haven't really been seeing me on stage. I've been really ill. But I'm back. I'm back into getting myself back fighting fit, as you can see. Right. And I'm waffling now. So if those that don't know, I have been cycling the world. Yes, I have. For those that have been following me on Facebook, I got challenged, obviously, part of my recovery back to health. As basically 38 days ago, I was told 38 days ago, I was told that I could start exercising again after being rushed into hospital last October with a heart condition, which was quite scary, actually. Yeah, so which was been brought on by an autoimmune disorder, which previous year gave me kidney failure while I was at Edinburgh Fringe. And they say about having fringe flu, yeah, which got rushed into hospital, and I was having kidney failure, which then it started attacking my lungs. So So yes, I've been extremely ill, and they reckon that might have been what the heart condition and the little heart attack that I had was brought on by the autoimmune disorder. But I'm here and I'm back on stage. I'll be back on stage on Saturday in the comfort of my own living room. It's going to be like Fringe. It's going to be like Fringe from your living room, which is going to be absolutely amazing. Thank you to Roxy Stardust and the Glasgow Festival of Burlesque for having me on Saturday for the weekend fling while you're at home. So you need to tune into that. Some amazing performers on that. And oh, where's my list? So where did I start? And how did I get into burlesque? Well, that happened 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I did my very first solo burlesque routine at the Cheeky Devils Club. It was their first birthday bash. Thanks to Lou Sapphire for that. But before that, every year I used to be the chairman of Preston Pride, and as part of Preston Pride, we inherited a charity fundraiser for World AIDS Day called the Red Ribbon Cabaret. Totally all community based. And as part of that, they used to do a men's routine and a ladies' routine, all led by community leaders from all different various organisations. And as part of that, being the chair of Preston Pride, I got involved in that. And I did drag. Believe it or not, Rock Hart was a drag queen. Every year they used to do one big huge festival. When it first started, when we took over as Preston Pride, I think it was his 21st year of the Red Ribbon Cabaret that had been running. So I got to meet some amazing performers, and as part of that, we had quite a lot of burlesque performers, and our host was Joe Black. Yeah, so Joe Black hosted that year. We had Coco Malone, who is a huge cabaret performer, and Ava Fox. Also, she participated. Two absolutely fabulous, amazing singers that I worship. Which was absolutely amazing. Coco, I was very lucky for when I had my 40th birthday party 7 years ago, that I managed to get Coco Malone to come up from London and come and perform some jazz sets at a beautiful little venue in Manchester called the Eagle. So we had our birthday party there, and so that was sort of my road into burlesque. Ava Fox basically turned around and told me that I was a frustrated male dancer, and that I maybe needed to explore the world of burlesque, which I'd heard about but never actually really experienced it until I was 40. I basically had a wander around trying to find classes, but unfortunately, being a man, there wasn't anywhere really to get classes, so I'm basically self-taught. I did workshops along the way to gain the skills that I needed to basically be on stage to do my first performance. So that's my sort of little journey into burlesque. Before I actually got into burlesque, and as I said, I was the chair of Preston Pride, which came through a lot of work with other organisations, charity-based and voluntary and community-based organisations, as well as statutory-based organisations, because I was a youth worker before I became a burlesque and cabaret performer. So into the future, I don't know if any of you may know, or some of you may know, but some of you don't. A couple of years ago, I had a full nervous breakdown in the middle of an event that I was actually running, which I look back now, it's quite a really horrible, dramatic time for me. I'd lost my mum at the age of 66 to cancer very, very rapidly. My mum was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she had it operated, and it was literally coming up to her 5th year of being clear and being cancer free. To find out that she had had secondary cancer. She was having problems for 6 months prior to that. She was having problems with her shoulder, and the doctors basically just kept her and saying to her that it was a trapped nerve. To find out that my mum had cancer of the spine, which is a secondary cancer to breast cancer, which very rapidly deteriorated, which then went to her brain, and she died, which was quite horrific. So as part of that, I had been sponsoring and supporting and an ambassador for Cabaret versus Cancer. I did the nude cabaret calendar in my mum's honour, which my mother actually had a copy of before she died, which was amazing, which I now have. So yeah, with my mum's name on it. Yeah, God bless her. Unfortunately, my mum never got to ever see me perform. She was supposed to have done, but fortunately she never did, and which was a shame, because my mum loved theatre and cabaret. She was as a child, I used to perform as a child. Yes, always performed as a child. I was the entertainment when we used to have family parties. I used to do things like gymnastics, walk on my knees, contortion. I even used to be able to get through a tennis racket. And I also used to do impersonations. I used to impersonate Maggie Thatcher, Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, which isn't difficult. There you go. And a few other impersonations along the way. So yes, so going back, as I said, I'm doing this cycle ride for cycling around the world, which is 32,000 miles. 32,000 miles. I started that on the 24th of March as part of my recovery for my fitness. And a friend of mine who is a counsellor turned around and said, "Oh my God, the way you're going to end up cycling the world." And I just went, "Oh, I probably will, because the way we're in lockdown, by the time I've done all this cycling, I probably would have cycled around the world." So as you do, you ask Alexa. And I asked Alexa, and I said, "Alexa, what is the mileage of the world?" And she came back saying it was 24,901 mile. But as the world is round and it ondulates like this, it expands. The actual average distance is 32,000 miles, which is what I'm doing. I am cycling 32,000 miles. And I'm doing it for NHS charities together. So yes, that's what I'm doing at the moment. If you keep seeing all these weird little videos, that is what because I'm cycling the world and raising some good hard cash for the NHS. The NHS, by the way, have 250 charities attached to the NHS, and so the money that will go to the charities together then gets divided between the 250 charities that the NHS, that they support the NHS with, doing some fantastic, marvellous work. So yes, nothing better than to give back for all the help, support and treatment that the NHS have given me over the past 3 years to get myself back in fighting fit order. So that's what I'm doing. And at this moment in time, as well as part of my recovery from my breakdown, I'm a trainee barber. Yes, I am. So when we come out of lockdown, everybody is going to need their hair cutting. So yes, I've been training as from last September. I've been training to be a barber, and I should hopefully, theoretically, keep my fingers crossed and everything else crossed, I should be a fully qualified barber by the 29th of June. But that's also going to depend on obviously this lockdown and how that works. But by September, I will be a fully qualified barber. So I'll be a burlesquing barber. So Sweeney Todd, watch out. I'll be singing and dancing my way, cutting people's hair. So, who are my inspirations? Oh, who are my inspirations? Well, when I got into burlesque, or when I was researching getting into burlesque, the first person who I actually watched in burlesque was Dave the Bear. Dave the Bear has always been a very influential person for me. He is the person that when I got into burlesque, or it was like, oh, so you don't have to be camp. You don't have to do this. He's a macho man, which is what I really loved. And I don't call myself a boylesque performer. I mean, I'm too old to be a boy. So I've always called myself a manlesque performer, or a male burlesque performer, which I prefer. For those that have seen my routines, you'll see that they are quite masculine. Yes, very masculine indeed. Especially my Rocky. My Rocky routine is quite masculine, but can also be camp. Which basically was my very first and my signature routine. That was my Rocky routine, was the very, very, very first routine that I did, followed by a balloon pop called Walls of Wall Street, which was based at the time. It was when my Walls of Wall Street came out. The movie was out, but the whole routine is based on the financial crash, the UK. That's what it's based on. So it does have some influences from the movie, and the real life, what happened in Wall Street. But then obviously that reflects for what happened here in the UK, and how the banks crashed, which is what my routine's about. And then, of course, the one and only, my Master Muir, nicely renamed, which is my Tom of Finland tribute. Tom of Finland has been a huge influence, on my life, since I've been very young. As you can see, I'm a Tom's man today. I'm all in leather. Yes, I am. A Tom's man. I am a Tom's man. Always has been a Tom's man. For those that don't know about Tom of Finland, Tom of Finland, it's his 100th birthday this year. This month, actually, it was 100th birthday this month, as far as from what I remember. He was, or he is, a what they class as a homoerotic artist. He didn't start as a homoerotic artist. He started in a magazine called Physique, which basically he would photograph and draw muscle men. Is that the right word? Muscle men, and weightlifters and stuff like that. It was a magazine that was brought out for those that are weight training, which, if you do look at some of the original pictures, they are quite homoerotic, I suppose. The only way to describe it. So he would photograph people that was like that basically would weight trained and had certain poses, like you remember. Oh, shouldn't have touched my face. Oh, it's okay, I've washed my hands. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger did his poses when they're doing Mr. Universe, and this like. So Tom of Finland is a huge influence. Hence my Master Muir routine. Other people that have influenced me was when I first got into burlesque back in 2014, and I did my very, very, very first Edinburgh Fringe, which was an absolute blast. I did my I did one show, and that was Spontaneities, which Magenta de Lust ran. And I went up for one day and one day only, and did her show. Then I went back the following week. I went for a week. I went back for a week. And I've been every year ever since, unfortunately, apart from this year. So I've done the Edinburgh Fringe for the past 5 years, I think it is now. I had the privilege in 2016 to be able to put my own show on at the Edinburgh Fringe, called Hardcore Cabaret. Yep, so Hardcore Cabaret was taken to the Edinburgh Fringe. And I only did I did a half the Fringe, because I only did half a run, rather than the full run for the month, which is a lot of work. Great experience, totally great experience. It was just unbelievable, and I love the Fringe. I love Scotland. I always class Scotland as my second home. As you can tell, I'm not a local to where I am. I'm originally from Worcestershire, but I have travelled around, very much so, in my jobs that I've done previously in my past. So I've lost quite a lot of my my Midland accent, compared to my siblings. So yeah, other people who have really influenced me. I was very, very honoured to meet Mr. Gorgeous, and do chair balancing with Mr. Gorgeous at Burlesque Noir. For those that don't know about Burlesque Noir, it is a huge, big burlesque event that's run once a year, at the Tower Ballroom, and that's run by Raven Noir. And I won the Rising Stars competition, and my prize for that was to perform at Burlesque Noir, in the Tower Ballroom. And headlining that was Jo Weldon, Mistress Jo. She was also known as Jo Booby, and she also wrote the Burlesque Bible. If you haven't had the Burlesque Bible, you need to read the Burlesque Bible. That was the very first book that I ever brought when I was getting into burlesque. Yeah, and it was so tatty. And of course, I got to meet Jo. I was very in person. And for those that know me, I'm not really a speechless person. There's only been 2 times in my life that I've been speechless and not been able to talk. And that was one of them. That was meeting Jo Weldon. And I took my Burlesque Bible with me, and all dogged and tatted, and I was going to buy a new copy for her to sign, and I didn't have time to, unfortunately. I didn't get a chance to buy a new copy of the Burlesque Bible, so I took my dogged, tatted book along with me, and I asked Jo if she would kindly sign it, and Jo actually said to me, she was like, "Oh my God," she went, "This is amazing." She said, "I love to see it when it's all tatted." She said, "Because I know," she said, "that it's been read." Oh, and believe me, it was read from cover to cover and back again. So if you are thinking of getting into burlesque, then I would highly advise that you get the Burlesque Bible. There are lots of other great, amazing books out there as well. Sapphire. Oh, I can't remember her last name. She has just recently wrote a book called Burlesque or Bust, which is her autobiography about burlesque, which is a very interesting read as well. I mean, that's a really good book to have a read, because people can make money out of burlesque, but also for those that are thinking about getting into burlesque, don't think that you can go out there and make lots of money, because it's not necessarily the case. Burlesque is a vocation. And I say that lightly. Burlesque is a vocation. When I first got into burlesque, and got into the scene, I went and did the competition scene. I started, my very first competition I did was the Tea Time Tassel Off, that's run by Morning Star. And that was in the White Gallery in Leeds. And I was very fortunate and very lucky that I actually won at the time, and I walked away with Best Performer. The Tea Time Tassel Off is a non-competitive competition. Let's just say that right. It's a non-competitive competition. Even though you are competing against each other, it is a non-competitive competition. And if you want to know more about that, then speak to Morningstar. She will be really happy to talk to you about that. I know that she touched on that yesterday, about being a non-competitive competition. I also went over to Belfast, and did the Belfast Burlesque Festival, and I walked away with the sash, Best Northern Ireland Newcomer, which was amazing. And I then got a chance. My prize for that was I got a chance to go back and perform at the Belfast International Film Festival, which was absolutely stunning. Which that was ran and organised by Soup du Jour, and TZ Over Easy. So there you go. I was thinking, TZ Over Easy. Yeah, so I've done that. Obviously, I then did the Rising Stars, which was run by Raven Noir. And from there, I then challenged myself. The first year, I did every event that I got booked for free. That was my choosing. That was totally my choosing. I chose to do that. Maybe some of the events I got paid for my travel, and that was purely because I wanted that stage time to experience and to develop my routines and whatever. I also went to London and did the Burlesque Babies. The Burlesque Babies burlesque event, and I came first runner up, which was absolutely amazing. And then my second year, I just went on and I performed, and the world completely at some point. It's amazing. It's totally amazing. Got to perform at amazing festivals. I performed, and also we're talking about competitions. I also did went to Amsterdam and did the Amsterdam Burlesque Awards. I met some amazing international performers. My first international gig was Cabalesque, Denmark, in Aarhus, which absolutely love. I love my Nordics. Beautiful place. I travelled a bit. I'd been to Aarhus on holiday, and it was one of the places I'd always said I'd love to go back. And I had the opportunity to go back and perform in our house. And I went back recently, just a couple of years ago. They had their birthday bash, and I was invited back. So thank you to all you guys, and thank you to everybody that's given me the opportunity to be where I am today. Without you guys, I wouldn't be performing still. So which means a lot. My passions. Oh, my passions. Oh, my passions. Passion is Tom of Finland. I'm a little bit of a fetish boy, as you can tell. I'm into my leather. And I last year, yes, it was last year. Last year, I started the Glasgow Fetish Weekend, which was supposed to be tomorrow. It was supposed to be this weekend. Yes, it was the second one was supposed to be this weekend, but unfortunately, it had to be cancelled and postponed. But it will be. We're looking at doing it later on in the year. But at the moment, that's all on hold. Obviously, because it depends on how this is going to pan out. But yeah, it would definitely It would definitely be back next year, which was supported by the Glasgow Fetish Weekend last year, which was absolutely amazing. Roxy wow, man. It depends. Sometimes very slowly. Sometimes they just fall off naturally. Especially as men got hair. So from but I now chef. I do sort of different stuff. Tape, carpet tape, mass tape. And what I use now is it's quite a strong sort of like latex adhesive, as well as I've also used craft spray glue. Yeah, so when you do it, make sure that you do look after your nipples, because you can seriously do some damage. I have pulled it off, and I have actually made my nipple bleed. So yes, but with my assholes, as you can see with my rocky routine, I have assholes. They normally just fall off. I've tried all ways of keeping them on, putting them on just before I could start, putting them on before, sitting on them. But it also depends on the temperature and the climate of the venue that you're in. If you're in a venue that's really highly air conditioned, then it keeps you cool, so you don't seem to sweat as much. If you're in a venue that doesn't have air conditioning, obviously with the audience as well, the heat rises, and your body temperature rises. Of course, it's small and heat, so they just fall off. So I hope that covers that question. Do you have a favorite performer or act? My favorite act, I would have to say my favorite act that I have is probably all of them. There are a couple that not that I don't like, I just don't like doing more as others. I wouldn't create an act if I didn't like it, because when you create an act, as Morningstar said yesterday, which I totally agreed with, you really do need to be able to listen to that music over and 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 over again. So every time Eye the Tiger comes on by Survivor, I'm like, it's no good. If you do that, then it's you need to enjoy the music that you do. So I do enjoy all my routines. I enjoy my shaken, my Rocky, my time of Finland, my Swine Lake routine that's only been done a few times, my Poseidon, my Warrior. Yeah, if I do a routine and I've made a routine and I don't like it or it doesn't feel right, it gets binned. Yeah, then there's no point carrying on with the routine that you don't feel right, because if it feels right, then the audience know it will feel right. It's right for you, and the audience will enjoy it. If the audience see that you're just going through the motions, then it's not good for you, and it's not good for them. So make sure when you do a routine together, you're happy to be able to listen to that same music over and over and over and over again. I listen to Rocky now. I was listening to cycling the other day. I was listening to some on Spotify, some cycling album, and the very first song that came up was Survivor Eye of the Tiger, and I laughed and laughed and laughed, and I cycled through it, which was really interesting. What's your most memorable performance? My most memorable performance, or the one that I cherish the most. All of them are my most memorable performances. I like them all, but the one that I was nearly sick at, and I mean that, waiting to go on stage, was when Satan's Angel came over, and I was asked if I would. I was supposed to perform for Satan's Angel when she came over at the Satan's weekend, but unfortunately, I had a leg injury, which I blew my thigh muscle out, and I got a 5 centimeter by 4 centimeter gash, this massive cross in my thigh. Hence, I was on crutches for 2 years. And I was performed at the Tea Time Tassel, not the Tea Time Tassel, the extravaganza, the Satan's Angel extravaganza at the festival. And obviously, I couldn't get to perform because of my leg. So Terrier and Morningstar and Roxy Stardust kindly asked me if I would go and perform at Glasgow when she came over for the second time. And I did, and I performed at the Satan's Angel heat for the Tea Time Tassel, along with lots of other performers. So Satan's Angel could actually see my Rocky performance, and and Gypsy Charms came down and she was waiting. She was like, "I'm waiting for you to go on. I'm waiting for you to go on." She was, "I'm so looking forward to see this." And I actually slut dropped Satan's Angel. Yep, I slut dropped Satan's Angel. And I was waiting at the door, and I was shaking like a leaf, and I was literally about to vomit at my cabaret. But I didn't. I held it together, and I would honestly say that's probably my proudest moment and my proudest routine, was to actually get to perform for Satan's Angel personally, which just means a lot to me. And yeah, look, Satan. And she used to call me her boy. She went, "Where's my boy?" So yes, that's probably my most memorable performance, along with the Tower Ballroom and doing my very first performance, and then meeting Roxy at Moxie's Roundup, up in Glasgow. All hail the Queen! We absolutely all hail the Queen. If I could give advice to new performers, the advice for new performers is know your stuff, do your research, research what you're looking at, research what you're doing. There are a lot of performers out there, and yeah, do your research, and don't be scared of it. The industry can be very, very scary, um, especially for a man going into a woman's world. That was extremely weird, having an all-female dominated world, and being that little man. The worst probably performance, and you know, the worst performance. Well, no, it's the worst performance, but the worst thing that's happened to me. I actually got sexually assaulted on a stage at an event, by a very drunk woman, who thought it was okay to come up and try and rip my jock off stage, which basically got picked up and escorted out by security. So yeah, so that's not acceptable. No, girls, that's not acceptable at all. Just because we are performers, you know, and we're there on stage, we're there to do a job. It is a job at the end of the day. Just because we're strippers, it is a job. We are paid our tax. You know, so just remember that. You know, those that come to shows, we are there to entertain. We are not there to be groped, and that's both men and women. So yeah, just put that in. Just put that in. You know, could I eat a 16-inch munchie box by myself? Oh, how yes, I could, Roxy. Yes, I could eat a 16-inch munchie box all by myself. Oh, Glasgow supper. Yay. I could now. I couldn't a couple of years ago, but I could definitely eat a 16-inch munchie box now. What would let's got a couple more questions. If you could give further performance advice, what would it be? If I could give further performance advice, what would I be? Take time out. Take time for you. I've learned the hard way. I learned by burning myself out, working through grief, working through illness, carrying on working because you need the money. If you don't work, you don't get the money. So yeah, I learned the hard way, and I literally now take time out. You're important. You are the only one that can look after you and your health. People can tell you, but nobody can do it. Only you can do it. Sean George, you just sent me a picture. They said, "Who is this?" Oh my God, he sent me a picture. His work. He's an artist. Sean George is an artist. If you haven't seen, if you've been on my Instagram, which is at Mr. Rock Art. And if you have seen the picture that I put up on there, on my Facebook feed, of a red drawing of me in a red vest with my headphones on. That was Sean. Sean is an up and coming pop artist. Yeah, he's like, yeah, go Sean, and he's drawn a picture of me. I am so honoured. Me in my Tom of Finland tribute routine in my leather. That's absolutely amazing, George. I'm blushing. So yeah, I think that's me. If anyone else has got a few questions, anyone else got a question they want to hear or no? Or is that just it? Is that me done? Because I can't see the feed that's going up. I must be sort of like lost a little bit, because I can't see anything. I just see me on a screen. So yes, so thank you very much. It's like my little cushions. My little bookie. Hello, Bookie. Hello, Bookie. Me and Bookie, I say thank you very much, for having me. Thank you very much for having me, Roxy, and the Glasgow Festival of Burlesque. And thank you to everybody that has supported me, and has followed me, and has encouraged me, and has speeded me on, and over the past 6 years. It's been one hell of a journey. And it's one that I've loved every minute of, and I love you guys, and I love performing for you. I will be performing live on Saturday from my living room for the Glasgow Festival of Burlesque weekend fling at home, or lockdown, weekend fling lockdown, or something like that. Roxy will put it up on the screen what's happening on Saturday. So yes, so I am going to love you and leave you. And thank you. Mwah, 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 mwah.